It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, 2 outstanding elementary schools playing our game, one of whom could become the last of our Final Four. Let's meet today's teams. First, from Adelphi Elementary, would you please say hello to Rofi Paul, Dalvin Den, and Jennifer Placido. And from Bond Mill Elementary School, here they are, Norlian Lamb, Jared Ross, and Isaiah Webb. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left worth 5 and 10, tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest question of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece, no penalties ever for incorrect answers. And to the 2 rounds, we will have a winner to go on possibly to this year's finals. Let's go over and make sure everything works properly. Let's go to the red team. Dalvin, would you try your buzzer? Thank you, young man. Good luck to you, to Rofi, and to Jennifer. And the green team, Jared, give it a whirl. All right, looks and sounds good. Good luck to you, to Isaiah, and to Norlian. Before we start, just congratulations. Adelphi for making it this far in the competition, your 3rd appearance. Bond Mill for getting a bye in the first round. You're all great ambassadors for your school. Let's have a good game. May the better team win. A before B. We go alphabetically. Adelphi, Dalvin, let's start the bowl.
Green things for 5, please.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, if you are very much like your mother or your father, the saying goes, the apple doesn't fall very far, Bond Mill.
From the tree.
From the tree. That's your green thing. Good. 5 points. Go green.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, your question is as follows. If a fruit is unripe, not only does it have very few nutrients at that point, but it's a signal that what inside is not quite ready yet.
Seeds.
Adelphi.
Seeds.
The seeds, yeah, they're not quite ripe. They're not yet capable of causing that plant to grow into a new plant. Okay, go red.
Zoo Parade for 5, please.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, they are the most unaerodynamic members of their group. These creatures that in the mobile game you can't download anymore is known as Flappy what?
Birds.
Adelphi?
Birds.
Flappy Bird, yeah, boy, they go right into the ground, beak first. Go, red.
Body systems for 5, please.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, if there's someone in your class, you know, they're hard to get along with, not you guys. You don't want to be around them. They're said to have a chip on their what? Adelphi.
Chip off the old block.
Not off the old block. That's a saying as well. If someone is kind of cantankerous, you don't like to be around them. They got an attitude. They're said to have a chip on their what?
Tooth.
On their shoulder. A chip on their shoulder. Go green, please. Is that correct? Is it green? Yes. All right, good. Jared?
Body systems for 10, please.
Body systems for 10 points. Kind of a disgusting question. There's a big word called bororygmus. I don't expect you to know that. That is the sound that your intestines make when they gurgle, when what 2 states of matter are passing through. Give me one. Give me one, Adelphi.
Gas.
Gas.
Gas is right. Liquid is the other. You know, you don't want to hear those sounds. If you hear them, head for the toilet. Go red.
Let's get physical for 5, please.
Get physical for 5 points. Teams, the number of these subatomic particles in an atom's nucleus equal the atomic number of that element. Name that subatomic particle, Adelphi.
1.
No, I need the name of the particle, the name of the subatomic particle found in the nucleus of an atom. That number is equal to the atomic number as well. Protons. Protons. Go red.
Science potpourri for 5, please.
Potpourri for 5 points. Sad news out of the National Zoo. Pandora died. Pandora was the 5-year-old cephalopod that, when alive, could disappear in a cloud of ink. Bon Mill.
Squid?
Not a squid. Good try. Adelphi, this 5-year-old cephalopod, recently passed away at the National Zoo, could disappear in a cloud of ink.
Octopus.
Octopus, yes. Go red.
Dateline science for 5.
Dateline for 5 points. Teams, even though there is a chemical element still with this name, this heavenly body discovered back in 1930 is no longer part of the planetary club. Bon Mill?
Pluto?
Pluto, yeah. What's the element? Plutonium. Plutonium. You got the points. Go green. Yes, sir.
Zoo parade for 10.
Zoo parade for 10 points. Visual question. Look at the monitor. Teams, this yellow creature is a banana slug. It's the mascot of the University of California at Santa Clara. Even though it does not have a shell, it belongs to what phylum of invertebrates? Bon Mill.
Mollusks.
Yes, sir. Mollusks. Good answer. Go.
Zoo parade for 15.
Zoo parade for 15 points. Teams, cancer, luckily, is not contagious, with one exception. There is a cancer that is contagious among these nasty-tempered Australian marsupials that bite each other. Adelphi.
Tasmanian devil?
Yes, sir?
I'd like to pass it on.
Jennifer.
Tasmanian devils?
Got it. Good. Red. Go.
Let's get physical for 10, please.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, this heavy, colorless, flammable gas was in short supply this winter for people trying to heat their homes, but there was plenty of it to light the torch at Sochi. Name that gas. Bon Mill.
It's gasoline?
No, sir. Not gasoline. Good guess. Name this heavy, colorless, flammable gas that people used to heat their homes. It was also used to light the torch at Sochi.
Hydrogen.
Propane. Propane. Red. Go.
Science potpourri for 10, please.
Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, doctors have changed their mind. Now they're telling pregnant women, you should eat a little bit of these legumes so that when your baby is born, it will not be allergic to these things. It will tolerate them.
Peanuts?
Bon Mill.
Peanuts?
You got it. Peanuts it is. All right. Buzzer is rung. You guys are starting to cook now. You're getting the hang of the game. Let's check that score before we go to the break. Bon Mill 75, Adelphi 95. We'll be back with more Science Bowl in just a moment.
I tell people I have 3 kids, one of them's adopted, I just don't know which one.
I can't imagine having to be in a birth mother's position to make that choice.
You know, I was kind of just asking her, you know, what is your motivation? Why are you doing this? And she looked at me and she said, because you can give my son a life that I could not.
We always tell her thank you. He is such a blessing to us.
Every day is just a ray of sunshine from him. So we're Chanda and Brian, and we chose adoption.
Welcome back to Science Bowl. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. We've been on the air now for 28 years. This is our 28th season, and we get students that continue to dazzle us with all of their scientific literacy, just like the 6 we have here today. Let's meet them. Let's go first to Adelphi, their 3rd appearance this year. We know what a great team you are. Adelphi, I don't think your school's ever made it this far in our competition, so that really is a comment on your skill and all the practice you put in. Tell us about your school, Dalvin. Who's your principal?
Our principal is Dr. Ennis. She's a really great principal. And our school is a really great school, too.
Wow, what a nice thing to say. A nice commercial for the school. And you know, if you've got nice people, you'll want to go there because you know those people have your interests at heart. Thanks, Delvin, for that. Did you have any alternates on your team?
Yes, we have 2 alternates, Denise and Enya.
Wonderful. We'll bring them out along with Miss Williams, Miss Adeola Williams, who is a relatively new sponsor. And boy, she has really made a mark here on Science Bowl. We love what she does, and she'll be out in a few moments. And she really cares about you guys. Tell me about your matching red over there. Is that the school uniform?
Yes, it is. And we have khaki pants, too.
Khaki pants, very good. And I see you're a member of the Safety Patrol and position of responsibility. And you're a very cool-headed captain over there. I like how you consider your answers. You're not someone who blurts things out, and that's a real tribute to you. You're a good leader. Tell me what you hope to do someday.
Well, I want to be a physicist or a chemist, and I hope that I'll have a degree, a master's degree, a PhD, and lots of other degrees.
Well, you've got a great plan. I have no doubt you're going to see through what you want to do. Nice to have you back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jennifer, young lady, she lives and breathes science. You're thinking about oceanography. You're thinking about astronomy. You love prehistoric sea creatures. How do you know so much about science?
Well, it's a combination of me watching TV. Usually in my spare time, I would go to Nat Geographic, Animal Planet, and sometimes TLC because they have really good stories. And I'd go read a book, any kind of book I want, nonfiction, any kind, and I'd go on the internet.
And you're just an aware young lady. We can tell you came up with that Tasmanian devil answer. I'm sure you came across that animal in some of your readings and some of the programs. You're a good player, Jennifer. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Rofi, nice to have you back. This young man is a musician. You play the piano. How many years have you played?
2 years so far.
2 years, yeah. Have you reached the point where you're giving recitals yet?
No.
No. Now, are you part of an orchestra at
No.
Adelphi? Not yet. Okay. And what else do you do in your spare time?
I usually sit around and watch the clouds go by, or I just do something random like put paper in fire and watch it burn.
You kind of got a Zen thing going there. I like this. Explains a lot of your calm demeanor over there. And I know you're interested. What are you interested in as a career?
Neuroscience.
Neuroscience, yeah, because I know you're a big fan of Dr. Ben Carson. Yeah, and you're a great player. Nice to have you back with us. Bond Mill. Tell us about Bond Mill, Jared. Where's it located?
Oh, it's located in Laurel, Maryland.
Laurel, Maryland, up to the northern part of Prince George's County. And who's your principal?
Our principal is Mr. Fitzgerald.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's like the best principal ever.
Wow. And I know he won the Washington Post Principal of the Year award not too many years ago. And speaking of great people, your sponsor is?
Miss Jacobs.
Miss Jacobs, and she has been coming here, I think, most of the 28 years we've been on the air, the longest serving sponsor we have, and she never fails to send us great guys like you, and we appreciate all that Kathy does for us. Any alternates on your team?
Ryan and Christian.
Christian, we'll bring them out in a couple of moments. How'd you guys get ready for this? Did you practice?
Yeah, we would meet up at lunch and sometimes recess if it was like indoor recess, and we would watch old Science Bowl videos and try to figure out the questions.
That's great. That's the way to do it, because when you get here, then it's not a big shock about what happens. Dalvin did a nice commercial. He was telling us about the great people at Adelphi. What do you like best about Bond Mill, Jared?
Well, like, a lot of people are nice there. There's not a lot of people that are mean or bullies. And our teacher, and pretty much all of our teachers are very nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's just wonderful. So niceness trumps a lot of other things, because you want to go to school and you want to know that people really like you and they're going to do their best for you. You're still undecided on a career, aren't you?
No.
Yeah, there's so many choices out there. I don't envy you being that age and trying, but you'll figure it out. You're going to do well. Isaiah, nice to have you here with us today. You're interested in traumatic brain injury.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell us about that.
I actually we had a field trip to Toby's Theater, and that's actually when I was interested in neurology, because I like Ben Carson a lot.
Well, yeah, he's a very famous physician up there at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. What do you do in your spare time, Isaiah?
I usually just find something to do. I just run around my house and just tell my grandmother I'm bored all day.
Now, you told me I like that, too. You and Ruffy, I like your attitude. You play chess, too, don't you? You're a chess player. All right. Norlian, Tell us the New Orleans story. This guy plays every sport not known to man, but most of them that young kids play. You play baseball, right? Football? Basketball? Track?
Yes.
Curling? No, you don't. You're not a curler. Very few people are. What do you want to do someday?
Well, I want to start a career as a magnetism scientist, but I don't really know how, but I will someday find a way to do that. And also.
That sounds good. All right. Well, obviously you prepared well for today. You're doing well. It's 80 to 95. Let's get back into the game. The toughest questions remain. All right, so get your game on. Get your heads together. Good luck. Green, start us out.
Okay. Dateline science for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Team scientists recently discovered that cats and dogs apparently can see this part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can't. Adelphi.
Infrared?
Not infrared. Good try. Bon Mill, what part of the electromagnetic spectrum do dogs and cats apparently see that we can't, that we associate with making vitamin D and, in large doses, skin cancer?
Ultraviolet rays.
Absolutely right. UV was the good comeback there. Good. Green.
Okay. Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, there's a new book out called The Sixth Extinction, because a lot of animals and plants are being extinct right now. The last extinction, 250 million years ago, back then apparently an awful lot of carbon dioxide was released into our atmosphere, because what happened back then? Bon Mill.
There was a meteor struck the Earth.
No, it wasn't a meteor hitting the Earth. All of that carbon dioxide that came out 250 million years ago that led to a huge extinction, where did that carbon dioxide come from? A volcanic eruption, a huge volcanic eruption. Try again, Jared.
Okay, green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. It's a multiple choice question. All right, listen carefully to the choices. You know that a daffodil, the front of it looks like a trumpet. Inside that trumpet are all the reproductive organs of a flower. Is that flower part called the stomata, the corona, or the corolla? Which of those three, Adelphi?
Stomata.
Not the stomata. Is it the corona, the corolla, or the stomata that contains all of the reproductive organs in a flower?
Corona?
Say it again.
Corona.
No, corolla was the right answer. Go green.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems for 15 points is another multiple choice question. Teams, if you watched the Olympics on the first night, the man who was talking to you, his name is Bob Costas. Something wrong with his eye. He had pink eye, which is contagious. So they got him off the air. They brought someone else in. Pink eye is when which of the following layers of your eye is infected? Is it called the sclera, the conjunctiva, or the vitreous humor? Which of those three?
Conjunctiva.
Conjunctiva is right, because its other name is conjunctivitis. Good. Red.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get physical for 15, please.
Get physical for 15 points. Teams, this past winter we've seen lots of icicles hanging from roofs. But I bet you didn't see any icicles made of calcium carbonate that hang from the ceilings of caves and are known as these. Adelphi.
Stalagmites.
Not stalagmites. Bon Mill.
Stalactites.
Stalactites is the right answer. Good comeback. Good. Green.
Science potpourri for 15.
Science potpourri for 15 points. Teams, it is now a federal crime to shine one of these narrow, intense beams of coherent light at the Bon Mill.
Laser pointer.
Laser pointers at the cockpit because you can blind the pilots. Yes, sir. Go. Score update. Bon Mill 120. Adelphi 110. Advantage green. Go.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, the vernacular or common name of the state flower of Maryland is the black-eyed Susan. But Rudbeckia hirta is its scientific name, made up of what two parts? What are the two parts of a scientific name? Someone's got to ring in. Genus and species, like Homo sapiens, boa constrictor. Go green.
Zoo parade for 20.
Zoo parade for 20 points. Teams, multiple choice question. Scientists recently discovered that elephants are empathetic. Does that mean they console each other, they share each other's food, or they groom each other? They are empathetic. Someone's got to ring the buzzer. Dalvin.
They share with each other?
They don't share the food with each other.
They groom each other?
No, it's the one neither of you chose. They console each other. So if one is having a bad day, the other ones recognize it and they go over and they kind of put their trunk around it and they make them feel better. That was a big news story last week. Other than human beings and apes, very few other creatures do anything like that. All right, come on. We're not getting any right. Let's get them. Green.
Body systems for 20.
All right, body systems for 20 points. Teams, it's an interesting story. There was a young gymnast about your age who had to go in for a transplant. Instead of taking out the diseased organ, they left part of it in there and put in a new one and hoped that the part that they left in would grow back so that they could take the transplanted organ out. What organ in the body, the largest internal organ, can regenerate that we're talking about here? Adelphi?
Liver?
Liver, yes indeed. One of the few organs that we have that can grow back. And then, of course, if they can take the transplanted organ out, they can stop giving all those anti-rejection drugs. Okay, Red.
Let's get physical for 20, please.
Get physical for 20 points. Hard to believe, but true. According to a recent survey, 1 American out of every 4 does not believe the Copernicus and Galileo theory of heliocentrism, meaning that they believe that the Adelphi, what do they believe?
The sun is the universe. The sun is
I'd like to pass it on to Jennifer.
Jennifer, I think you're going to tell me.
that the sun is the center of the universe?
Yes, they do not believe that theory, that the sun is the center of the universe, and that instead the earth is the center and the sun revolves around us. Yes, ma'am. Go.
Science potpourri for 20, please.
Science potpourri for 20 points. Teams, if you remember the story about Alexander Fleming, he discovered penicillin accidentally. Penicillin is a fungus. And if you were trying to do that experiment today, you would shake the fungus over the Petri dish, and there's a little stalk sticking up, the reproductive parts of the penicillin. What are those little reproductive things on the top called that you would put in the dish? If you're a fungus, Fonville.
Spores.
Spores, yeah, thanks Isaiah, good assist. Come on, you're cooking with gas, go Green.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline for 20 points, visual question, look at the monitor. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of the few pictures you'll ever see of him in a wheelchair. He hid from the American public that he was suffering from what paralyzing Adelphi.
I'd like to pass it on to
Rofi.
Polio.
Yes, sir. Polio it is. The vaccine, the Salk vaccine that basically eliminated that. Nicely done, Rofi. Go Red.
Green things for 25.
Green things, 25. Big one in that category. Teams, listen carefully. 2-part answer. Big words, but think. 3 things that happen in a plant. Root pressure, capillary action, and transpiration. They all exist to move what in a plant, what direction? They all exist to move what inside of a plant, what direction? Adelphi?
To move water upwards.
You got it. Exactly right. The pool of transportation, the adhesion of water molecules, the forcing. Perfect. Red.
Zuprate for 25 points, please.
Zuprate for 25 points. Teams, big word, simple answer. The kangaroo rat is one of the few animals on Earth that is both bipedal and quadrupedal. Meaning it can do what? 2 things. Not at the same time. Bipedal and quadrupedal. Adelphi.
I'd like to
What do you think, Jennifer?
That it could stand on its 2 legs and it can walk on all 4s.
Absolutely right. It can do 2 if it's standing up, and then it can run on all 4. Good. Go.
Body systems for 25 points, please.
Body system, 25 points. Teams. Edward Netter died recently. He was a great drawer of the human body. He also drew human diseases. What initial disease did he depict? A respiratory disease that is allergic, and he had in the background tree pollen and pet dander. What was that A initial disease he was trying to depict?
Asthma.
Asthma. You got it. Nice comeback, Jared. Go. 3 questions left.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical for 25 points, teams. Recently, you might have seen the story of that airplane that hit the turbulence over the Rockies. A baby went flying out of his mother's arms because there was no seatbelt. One of the stewards... I think you jumped in too soon. Bond Mill, one of the stewardesses, a couple of them, flew up and hit the ceiling. Examples of what laws that were proposed by what famous physicists? What laws and what physicists? Come on, Norlian, help them out. Isaiah? These are the laws of motion by Isaac Newton. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Ooh, the buzzer is rung. It looks like Adelphi has done it. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't you go away.
Engineers Without Borders USA answers the call with more than 225 university and professional chapters from a wide spectrum of disciplines. With more than 400 sustainable engineering projects in more than 45 countries, our organization is changing the world. If you would like to find out more about how you, too, can change the world, visit www.ewb-usa.org and click Get Involved. Engineers Without Borders USA. Building a better world, one community at a time.
I can have text all night long, but not when I'm driving.
What's the point of texting me about a party that you might not make it to?
I don't text and drive. Do you?
Do you?
Do you? Did you say text or sex? Hey, I got an idea. As long as you're texting, why don't you write your own obituary, dumb? I don't text and drive.
Do you?
We don't text and drive. Do you?
Brought to you by Rad and Terry Fader. This holiday season, don't let your friends text and drive.
Party!
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed this game at home as much as we did here in the studio. We are proud of all 6 of our players. Let's give them a hand. Super job here today. Super job. It's tough being on this show. Our final tally is Bond Mill 165, Adelphi 220. You're headed possibly to the finals. Rofi and Dalvin and Jennifer and our alternates Denise and Enya and Miss Williams. She's trying not to smile too wide. I know how happy she is. Bond Mill, let's see some smiles over there. Come on, Jared, take your hand down. I want to see you happy over there. Norlian and Jared and Isaiah and our alternates back there, Ryan and Christian. Miss Jacobs, we love it. It wouldn't be Science Bowl without you. Thank you for being here all these years. And our principal from Bond Mill, Mr. Fitzgerald, our award-winning principal, thank you for being on our set today. And thanks for the support you give this team. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.